The reason that I asked you to look at this article is because Devin Nunes was saying, and I don't have it in front of me, the article says that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino in that list, that they need to be careful and not trust the intelligence community. That's what Devin Nunes is saying. And I'm like, you got to be kidding, Devin. From all that you know, sitting on the House Intelligence Committee, you very well know that nobody can be trusted, including you.
No, I'm saying Devin Nunes is one of the most naive people. He's only people in Congress at the time who actually believed in it, and they took advantage of him, and they even gave him high positions. But that was because he's so milquetoast. He's such a beta boy. But he is a good person, but he's just not bright. For instance, I just heard the whole interview. He never gets to what was really going on, the version that he just told. It is shocking, but that's nothing. Had he used his power, he would have been able to bring the people to justice who killed his assistant. And Damon Nelson, we were told, were followers of us. So the question is why, to begin with, Devin Nunes never tells us, and basically he's still a hurt little boy, and he was just, crybabying about it here, that the ethics investigation of him because they said he had done something wrong for going to tell Trump that, hey, I was just in the skiff. And my two assistants brought to my attention the fact that they're spying on you and everyone in your downline. Okay, that was nothing. They continued, as he said in the conversation, to do that for 4 years. Boasberg, again and again and again, renewed the FISA illegal monitoring of not just Trump, everyone in his downline. That means everyone who Trump called and anyone that those people called and anyone that those people called. It went down 4 levels. So they were spying on everyone to get the information to use against them, and they never did get any information to use against them. And Devin Nunes then just says, and then the Mueller report came along. No. Then the biggest coup d'etat in human history came along, Devin. You need to put this in perspective. And then he's saying yes, and then, we had to open Truth Social so we'd have a voice. Well, that is the worst sales pitch I've ever heard from someone who's in charge of Truth Social. You are absolutely a dud. Now, what you should have said is that Truth Social is very successful in this and this and this, and that he said, oh, well, we can't compete. But basically, he said all it is a website for Trump to put out his word. Mm-hmm. That's it. Nobody's on Truth Social. It's not a success. It was a British buyout. Now, let's go to the point that Tyler made to begin with.
I got to put that in the article. It was definitely a British buyout.
It was $4.5 billion to Trump. Trump's stake, if he sells right now, is $4.5 billion given to him as the fake money for his IP, for Truth Social, to become public. And why? Because that, and we checked this out, and I think it was 7 levels down, it was the British. Directly from the British monarchy gave Trump that money. Okay, now here's the big factor. Tulsi Gabbard has been saying all along, no one in the intelligence committee can be trusted. Now, so to say that those below those people in the cabinet of Trump can't get anyone in their agencies to do anything real and that they only just found some evidence. No, that evidence was hid a long time ago. If they just found some evidence, it was given to them on a platter and it's all prepared. And it's all going to be easily swept under the carpet because it would have already been taken care of. Remember, Bruce Orr has not been fired. Remember, Andrew McCabe wasn't fired. Remember that James Comey was given immunity in the Mueller investigation, and that's why he can do anything he wants now. He can threaten to kill the president. Nothing happens. Okay? So here's the deal. Every SES member knows that they're part of a criminal cabal and that it's treasonous. There's no such thing as a senior executive service member who doesn't know that they're acting outside of the parameters of the law. It's impossible. Now, what the most important thing Devin said in this conversation is not one single person came forward, and that he believes that it was, and Trump keeps saying this, it's the top people. No, it's not. It's every single person in the FBI was involved in this. Every single, if they worked in the D.C. office, in the State Department, in the Justice Department, in all foreign relations, in the USAID, in the way that OPEC worked, in the way that the CIA worked, in the way that all those agencies. Remember, 17 intelligence agencies in the intelligence community all agreed 100% that Trump was involved with the Russians. They were all wrong, and that involved almost every single person in those agencies. They all need to be fired. Period. And so, of course, their bosses in the SES have to be fired. Of course, they're not going to follow the cabinet members. That's why Trump, in the first week of him being the president, created an executive order that restructured the entire National Security Council.
When Trump started his new term, I was so disappointed to find out that Devin Nunes was appointed the chair of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. I went, oh my God. But now that I look at it, if I could be so bold to say, and I know this is very bold, but what if the only intelligence Trump was getting during those years was actually the citizen intelligence that we were providing him through our research? And of course, there are others that were also doing the same, but primarily we were doing the bulk of it. What if Trump needs to make sure that these allies, who are really the British, are not involved with any of the negotiations with Putin and this Ukraine situation, because he now sees that the British are the enemy? He can't just unilaterally just say, okay, I don't want to deal with the allies. He's got to have someone who has some kind of, not official capacity, but maybe that, yes, but Devin was on the House Intelligence, to say to the president, you know what, you need to leave the allies out of the negotiation.
Damon Nelson was following us. Of course, that information got to Trump. We know that Trump was listening to us before he got elected. And the first time, we made a 12-point plan for him. That was the exact plan that he followed to the T, almost in the exact same order. Why? Because he didn't get any help from anybody in D.C. He actually thought they were honest, good people in the FBI. What a friggin' joke. The CIA. Oh, you got to be kidding. You think the Department of Justice isn't the Department of Injustice? And of course, so what did Trump do? Second administration. First off, he poked out 4 of the 5 eyes. And then he poked out the 5th eye. So the 5 eyes are New Zealand. What have they ever done for us? Nothing. Australia. What have they ever done for us? Nothing. What has Canada ever done for us? Nothing. Then why do we give them all of our top secret information? That's insanity. What has Britain done for us? Oh, they've done a lot. They've gotten us involved in every single war that America's been involved in, especially the first one against them, which we never won.
It's called the special relationship.
It's called also a lapdog. We are the lapdog, and we are the arm of weaponry used to defend imperialism and white supremacy coming out of the corporatocracy of the Pilgrim Society. But then he poked out the 5th eye. And I told everyone this again and again. Why would anybody be surprised that he's firing his cabinet members? None of them have any power. It clearly is all restructured. And that means he is not even getting an intelligence report. Okay, I want to underscore this. In this administration, he receives no intelligence reports. Why? Because none of them have any power to do anything, because he knows the people below his cabinet positions, which are nothing more than the people that he kind of trusts as his friends, and he can't trust anybody. And he likes people who go on TV a lot. So if they're good spokespeople, he likes that as long as they say exactly what he tells them to do. That's what Devin just said. Devin Nunes just said everything Trump told him to say. Because why? Devin he's not an original thinker. So Trump poked out the British 4th eye, and then the 5th eye is our own intelligence community. And he poked out their eye because he restructured the National Security Council so that they have no power and that he doesn't even get a report from them each day. and he created his own these are private individuals in the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, which Devon is the head of. Well, if Devon is the head of it, then you can bet that it isn't producing any intelligence whatsoever. All I would say they do is they probably watch the internet. That's probably their entire job. So Devon, he's not even smart enough to follow who Damon Nelson followed, which was us, and then he'd know all this. No, he's still in the dark. It's so sad. Five Eyes have been poked out. The intelligence community has been neutered, defanged, defrocked. He didn't listen to anybody in D.C. because everyone in D.C. lied to him before. And Bill Barr, who said not one single vote was illegally cast. Okay, Bill Barr, you're insane, and you're one of the worst treasonous son of guns I've ever seen. But remember,
Remember, we sent Bill Barr when he became Attorney General. Us, all you cats out there, many of you did this. I know I did it. Sent him officially our treason report. We got all of the research. We put it together in a report, and there was a page open that you could welcome him and send him things, and we did. Do you think we got anything? Nothing. Keep going.
I'm certain Devin Nunes' family has been threatened by the people in Congress. That's the reason he made the ridiculous statement in the interview that it really comes down to just 2 to 3 dozen people who were involved in all of this. That's so insane. Look at all the people who've already been fired who are directly connected to it. Judges, lower judges, higher judges. The Hegseth just found the big leaker. All these leakers have all been fired. We were talking about thousands of people have already had their security clearances taken away, which means they can't get a job and have the revolving door of being in the intelligence agencies and then going out into the military-industrial complex to work for the corporations, which are transnational. They're against America. So these people, if they don't have their security clearances, that just sunk their boat. We are talking thousands, and there's going to be many more. And we're talking almost every judge who came after Trump has now had the tables turned. And now the Fed is having the tables turned on them. Everywhere you look, Trump can only begin to make inroads. So for Tulsi Gabbard to say that she can't trust anyone below the cabinet members, well, that's silly. She can't trust the cabinet members. She can't trust the Five Eyes. She can't trust any of our intelligence community at all whatsoever. That's why Trump doesn't even get reports from them. And this was in the news, big time. Trump wasn't receiving the reports. You know who Obama had giving him reports for 8 years? This dimwit, horrible person, girl, really, she's in her very, very, very young, and she was reporting because she was the person in charge of weapons of mass destruction. So in other words, Obama didn't receive any intelligence reports for 8 years because he listened to this silly girl whose job it was to only report on weapons of mass destruction. So we're talking about, and Biden, the fake Joe Biden, didn't receive any intelligence reports. He couldn't understand him if he received them. So what we're talking about here is a one-man show, and this is the Revenge Tour. And it is, do you think he doesn't know that Christopher Steele, Richard Dearlove, and the entire British top elite tried to perform a coup d'etat upon him, a hard coup? They always were saying, "Oh, this is a soft coup." No, this is a British hard coup.
No, you don't say it's a British hard coup. It's a British attack on America. It should be war. Well, it still is war. We've been fighting this darn war with the British since way beyond 1776. They trick us. We think we win. And then what do? Through subversion, they take over the country from the inside. So Chris Steele is an enemy.
Okay. To prove what I'm saying, let me highlight the fact that Trump said to end the war, which has been going on between Europe and Russia since World War I, because remember, Russia was on our side, both World War I, World War II. And they will join up with us in the future. It just depends upon whether or not Putin can let go of his dictatorial status. But the point is he met without Zelensky, who he knows is totally corrupt, already stole $200 billion, without the European leaders, without the head of the European Union. Why? Because they're all corrupt. They're all liars. He's already called them out again for NATO and the lies with the Nord Stream 1 and 2 and on and on and on. He can't trust a single one of them. He doesn't trust one of them. I like the picture of all of them sitting outside of his office, and he was in there making sure that his paddle was ready for them, because that's what he did. He paddled them with tariffs, and people who don't like tariffs are idiots. There should be no tariffs, okay? But the tariffs are on us. Oh, it's okay to tariff America, but not to tariff the other country that just tariffed you? Basically, that means you are giving over the sovereignty of America to transnationalism. And so Trump now wouldn't even involve them in it. He knows who gave those drones that shot Putin, that got all those, that tried to shoot Putin out of the air and get all those, and bombed all the bombers, the drones that went deep inside of Russia. He knows who did that. That was the British. He knows what the French have done. The French are working directly with Zelensky. And they think all those European nations, they're so stupid. Each of them thinks they're going to get reconstruction rights. I mean, even Turkey thinks it's going to get reconstruction rights in Ukraine. That's not possible. They can't provide any security for the reconstruction of Ukraine. Only America can do that, and only with Putin's permission. Otherwise, the war goes on. Why wouldn't it go on? We stole it from Putin. Why wouldn't he try to get it back? Ukraine was his, and it was his most valuable part of his entire country. And it was taken from him by Americans doing double dealing with Soros and others in the CIA. Okay, so Trump at this point doesn't trust any of those people. None of them. Zero. None. And does he trust Putin? Of course he doesn't. He's not an idiot. So what's he doing now? He's a one-man show. And is J.D. Vance going to follow in his footsteps? No, he's not.
I don't want to talk about Soy Boy.
And Trump knows that the British are involved in all of this. That's the reason he will not give Starmer any credence. He keeps saying, no, if you don't give free speech in Britain, we don't even have a tariff agreement. If you don't stop the horrible invasion of your country, you don't have anything to do with us. And that's clearly what has been said. And so you just posted something on Gab from Lyndon LaRouche's people. And yes, but they say it's 80 years of British control. No, it's control that goes back to the original Babylonian banksters.
Yeah.
The British are just the recent iteration of that. So no, he doesn't trust any of those people, and he basically has foiled them in many respects. And we have to hope that he keeps doing so.
Sorry, audience, that I was brushing our beloved Douglas, but I have to get your comments. I hear one of the Antichrists has arisen and is going to be doing a 4-part lecture series. Now, I say Antichrist because not a doc who's on our Gab site always is reminding people that there's more than one Antichrist. So it looks like one has arisen. Are you going to be going to this event?
I don't listen to demon talk. That's the reason I can't hear. I will not listen to many people's voices like Zuckerberg or Peter Thiel. He just posted something just yesterday where he was being the most sane he's ever been. Normally, he looks like he's a demon-possessed person. So they've changed his drugs, and now they have a new platform for him. And they want him to talk about Antichrist. Well, as Tyler's beautiful meme says, it takes one to know one. He is filled with demons, and he's working for the Antichrist, and he knows he is. That's the reason he's part of Dark Enlightenment. That's the reason he's part of Dark MAGA. He wants to do away with all federal people and replace them with machines. And he wants to be the one guy who controls the machines, okay? And it's turning out to be somewhat like that. But technically, he's talking about the Antichrist that are mentioned in the Bible. That's what the article says. Now, deal is, the Bible says there's many Antichrists, but there's one big bad one called Sorot, a sun demon. That's who he works for, because he's working directly for pulling you down into the dark realm below the earth. So when they say dark enlightenment, dark worship of machines. That's what it should be replaced with. These are people who worship machines, believe that artificial general intelligence, artificial synthetic intelligence will take over the world and that they're going to control it. But at the same time, they tell you artificial intelligence is the end of humanity. It is basically technological genocide. It is the end of human thinking. It is the end of humans. But then they continue to make the machines and make a whole lot of money off of it. So you can't trust these people. So this is what I say is happening. He's come out. He's been reprogrammed with MK Ultra. He was already reprogrammed many times, but he's been reprogrammed to now be a Christian fundamentalist trying to tell you that technology is good when in fact it's the demon. It is Satan. And if you don't understand this, then you should listen to some of our talks or read some of our books that prove it to you. Because there is, MIT just proved it, and Harvard and some other places. The longer you allow ChatGPT into your life, the more your brain turns to mush. The convolutions start to be no longer defined, and you lose the capacity to think. There you go. It not just my insanity that's telling you this. It's also all these other people who are making money from it. It's also the evil plan of the World Economic Forum. It's also the evil plan of the European Union and of the United Nations. They wish to turn all of you into devices that they can remote control. And they even have patents for it called the aggressive remote control of all things, including the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies.
Well, there's already videos and stuff coming out about people who don't have self-talk. They don't hear themselves. They don't have any kind of self-awareness. It's like they only exist in their astral body.
If you have no self-talk, then you aren't thinking. Thinking about thinking is self-talk. And then when you do something wrong, if you hear another voice, that's your conscience. These people don't have a conscience, and especially the people leading all of this and making money off of it. And they want us not to have a conscience, and they want us not to hear the voice of God. But we heard from many people that after they got the jab, they no longer had their direct contact with God. That is exactly what is happening here, folks. Rudolf Steiner predicted all of this. He said that Americans are afraid of the Spirit. They'll do anything to make sure that they convince you that the Spirit is not there. And even if it was, it's scary. Don't go there. And that's what Americans, they don't think about death because they don't think about passing into the birth into the spirit world. No, they don't get any of that. So unfortunately, we're living in an age where the machine wars are in full swing and we're losing. But through your own conscience, your own inner voice, listening to the voice of God, listening to the divine, and looking beyond the physical world into the spiritual world is the antidote.
On the hill so grand, three fellas worked together, investigating the land. Devin led the charge on House Intelligence crew, with Stafford, Dame, and Nelson, high school buddy True. Cash Patel joined the team, smiling ear to ear, but deep down he's a shadow, spreading British fear. They dug into Crossfire Hurricane, that FBI storm, Russia hoax on Trump, keeping secrets warm. Oh, Cash, Cash, the spy in the skiff, British agent lurking, stealing our belief. Snake in the grass, protecting the crown. FBI's his hideout, tearing freedom down. Devin and Cash slipped into that secure skiff, reviewing damaging files, spelling deep state doom. Too hot for the open, couldn't let them fly free. British hands in the coop, trying to bring Trump to his knee. Damon Nelson gathered proof from truth's bold light. British pilgrims plotting to steal our fight. He packaged it up for Devin, his old school pal, but Cash was peeking over shoulders, a snake in the corral. Oh, Cash, Cash, the spy in the skiff, British agent lurking, stealing our belief. Pants on fire, protecting the crown. FBI's his hideout, tearing freedom down. Was Damon knocked off by MI6's cold hand? Brief illness took him quick in that fateful land. He knew too much about the British overthrow game, Five Eyes controlling FBI in a special relationship name. Now Cash sits as director, guarding British lies, a front for their propaganda under American skies. He protects the swamp that crown agents roll, dark side hiding plain, selling out our soul. Oh, Cash, Cash, the spy in the skiff, British agent lurking, stealing our belief, snake in the grass, protecting the crown, FBI's his hideout, tearing freedom down. Sing